Hello and welcome. This is Dr. Suzanne. Today I would like to talk about autism and spirits. I know it might sound a little bit off, but I want to use my past experience and an event that occurred here at the clinic to shed a little bit of light about why I'm talking about this. It's commonly thought that autism is triggered by immunization, especially MMR, which is the vaccines for measles, mumps, and rubella. And usually patients get that for the first time around 18 months of age and the second time around 4 years. But medical research has been done for the past 50 years at least and has clearly demonstrated that there is no correlation between MMR and autism. But a lot of parents tend to connect that vaccine to the change in their child's development. Why? Because around 18 months or 15 months when they get the vaccine, they say that the child has regressed. But you also need to know that there are specific genetic diseases that begin at around 18 months to 24 months, where a child who was naturally bubbling, normal, begin to regress progressively. So it's really up to the medical provider to have the discernment and understand the differential diagnosis, okay? But that's not really the topic. Autism is on the increase. I can assure you that during my days of medical schools, which were more than 30 years ago, yeah, I'm not that young, I never saw a real patient with autism. Yes, we studied that. It was part of the curriculum as part of developmental, but I never actually saw a patient with autism. It was so rare. But over the past 10 years, and especially over the past 5 years, I would say, the amount of patients with autism is on the increase. And you have to ask yourself why. Is it because we're making more of the diagnosis? Or is it because something has shifted, either in the environment, in the spirit realm, or what? What is actually happening? I can say that in my practice, usually I call it a happy practice because I'm a solution-oriented person. And I like to cure, okay? To cure. I like to get patients well and get them moving on with their lives. You know, even my patients who get cancer, even if they say the cancer is not curable, look, Dr. Suzanne, you don't come to me to die. I pray with you, I instill faith in you, and sure enough, you go through your chemo, you go through your radiotherapy, and all my patients with cancer who stick with me are in remission and they are doing fine. Okay, so this is the type of practice I call it a happy practice. I treat you, you get well, you move on, and you enjoy your life. But for the past 5 years, I would say, autism has been on the increase. So now I see some patients, they come to me with the diagnosis of autism, and after careful analysis, I can tell them with assurance that this is not autism. I tell them what the patient has, we work with the patient, we find solutions, and we get them out of that diagnosis of autism. I had patients who came with parents saying, they said he has autism, he's retarded, he's this, he's that. I said, look, this child doesn't have autism. Stop calling him autistic. And we work with the family. Now those children are the best in the classroom. They are leading in every subject. Why? Because there was the ability to discern what exactly was going on and provide the right solutions. I also have patients with autism, pure straight autism. And I know those patients I help them get the support, everything they need to have a pleasant life. But there is a slice of patients. It's not medical. There are spirits involved. And I believe I have around 8 patients like that in my practice. Like, I can see them and I know. And I tell parents, Mama, pray. So last week here, I had one of these experiences. One of my patients came like that. I was doing something else. Then I heard a loud noise at the front. I went there and the mother was on the floor. What happened? I asked the mother, did you fall? She said, no, he pushed me. I was like, he pushed you? This child is like this. In Cameroon, when you want to say that someone is skinny, you show your pinky finger. If you say the guy is like this. So the child is tiny and the mother is a mother. She's a mother, but she was on the floor and she wasn't able to rise because she was hurting so much, holding her ankle. I go in the room and the child is not calming down. He's still going after his mother, doing things. I got there. Usually when he sees me, he calms down, he's very sweet and all that, because I had already built that confidence with him. The first time he came, I've seen him for 7-8 years now. And I always treat him with love and care and patience. So when he sees me, he knows this is someone I can trust, So he cuddles, he's good. But this time, I got into the room and he was still in that spell. He was mad, screaming. So I looked at him, I called him. He wasn't even connecting with me. I looked at the eyes. The expression in the eyes told me this wasn't the child. This was a demon speaking through him. What I did, I stood next to him and I started praying quietly. In this medical office profession, you have to be medically professional. So I was praying quietly, but I was firmly commanding the demon to bow the knee in the name of Jesus and leave that child alone. So after a couple of minutes, the child just immediately just went and the atmosphere in the room was completely different. He was calm. He was looking at his mother. He was looking at me. I held him. A complete change. So I told the mother, what you just saw was a demonic manifestation. She says, yes, Dr. Suzanne, I witnessed it. She was flabbergasted. She started crying. She said, this thing comes on my son every day. And when it happens, I have to lock him up in a room because he's so violent and he's so crazy. I said, yeah, but this is a demon. And you need to pray and seek the help of a pastor who can help you get this child delivered. The issue here is that they are not Christians. They don't believe in Jesus. I told her, I prayed in the name of Jesus. And she said, I know. I saw you praying. And I know, Dr. Suzanne, from the time he's been acting like this to what you just did, right there, I had a new believer. She told me, wherever your pastor is, I'm going to see him. You see, that's how you convert people. So I gave her the contact of my pastor, and I also invited her to come to a crusade. Whenever there's going to be a crusade, I invited her. I said, you need to come. Even if you're not of the same religion, Jesus is going to help you. Jesus is love. He's going to come and help you. So I just want to encourage mothers. When you see that your child has autism, the first thing you need to do, seek the face of God. Begin to pray. Intercede for your child. 9 times out of 10, there is a demonic possession. There is a manipulation of the soul. Either it's a demon in that child, or there is a wandering soul from your family that was sent to that child, or it's a family contract that you don't really understand. And spiritual matters have to be taken care of spiritually, not necessarily medically. You understand? So I want to encourage you. A lot of the mothers with autistic children are very sad. They go through depression. They go through a lot of guilt. But I want to tell you, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Look up to God. And I was talking to a mother today because her child has a condition and she was so frustrated, and I could see how she was treating the child. I said, Mama, please, this child is an angel and God is testing you. He's watching how you're treating this child. You have to know that behind a mountain of problems, behind every mountain, there is a blessing. You have to see this child as an angel standing before you and watching how you're treating him. If you treat him well, yes, you're going to have the blessing. If you're not treating him well, you will not have the blessing. So please, seek help. Pray to God. Find a good church. I'm going to leave some information in the description box. And trust in the Lord. You have to follow all the medical advice, of course. But put God first. Seek God first. And every other thing will be added unto you. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.